Hey everyone, welcome back. We've got some absolutely insane news to break down today in the world of boxing, and it all revolves around the massive can't-miss showdown that everyone is talking about, Terrence "Bud" Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. This isn't just a fight, it's a spectacle, a clash of titans that has the entire boxing world on the edge of its seat. We're talking about a classic battle of size and raw power against speed, agility, and a boxing IQ that is second to none. The hype around this fight is real, and the speculation is flying fast and furious. We've got boxing legends, coaches, and analysts all weighing in, and the takes are as wild and varied as you can imagine. From Joe Rogan's passionate defense of Crawford to the cold, hard reality checks from guys like Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Greg Hackett, everyone has an opinion on how this incredible matchup is going to play out. First, let's dive into what the man, Joe Rogan, has been saying about this. He's a die-hard boxing fan, and his respect for Crawford is off the charts. He's been all over his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, just gushing about Bud's skills. Rogan believes that Crawford is not just good, he's the best switch hitter we've seen since the legendary Marvin Hagler. Think about that for a second. Hagler was a monster, a true great, and for Rogan to put Crawford in that same category speaks volumes about the kind of talent he possesses. Rogan is convinced that Bud's ability to seamlessly switch from orthodox to southpaw and be equally dangerous from both sides is a game-changer. He thinks this elite adaptability could be the perfect weapon to neutralize Canelo's raw, unadulterated power and experience. But even with all that praise, Rogan isn't blind to the massive elephant in the room: the size difference. Canelo is a beast, a super middleweight champion, and Rogan is worried sick that Crawford might not be big enough to handle the sheer force of Canelo's shots. He openly admitted on his show, "I just hope he's big enough. I hope he's big enough to keep that dude off him, 'cause Canelo hits so hard, man." He even added, with a laugh, that Canelo is one dude that like I believe all the expletive he be talking. That's a powerful statement from a guy who's seen it all in combat sports. Rogan is a Crawford fan, no doubt, but he's also a realist. He knows the danger is real and that Crawford is taking a massive risk by jumping up in weight. Speaking of that weight jump, it's a huge part of the conversation. Crawford is making a massive leap, going from 147 pounds to 168 pounds. As Jim Lampley pointed out on Rogan's podcast, Crawford has been leapfrogging weight classes, but this is a whole new level. He's going from welterweight, where he's a true master, all the way up to super middleweight to face arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. It's an insane challenge, and Rogan sees that. He's also quick to point out that he thinks Canelo is slowing down a bit, becoming more of a one-punch power hitter than the combination fighter he was in his younger days. This, Rogan believes, might give Crawford an opening to outmaneuver him. This brings us to a fascinating point about training. Rogan and Lampley were talking about how a lot of older fighters, especially those from a few decades ago, would never touch weights. They believed it was a negative, that it would compromise their speed and flexibility. They'd stick to bodyweight exercises and calisthenics. It's a very different world now, and Crawford's training is a perfect example of that. Crawford has been putting in the work, and the results are dramatic. Footage has emerged of him with a serious body transformation. He's walking around at 185 pounds, looking like a cruiserweight, but he's still lean and incredibly well-defined. This isn't just about getting bigger. It's about disciplined training and conditioning to ensure he can carry that extra muscle without sacrificing his speed. However, not everyone is sold on this approach. Strength coach Rob Aosta has warned that this rapid weight gain could be a double-edged sword, potentially compromising the very things that make Crawford special: his speed and stamina. Aosta's big concern is that Canelo is a master of timing, and even a slight decrease in Crawford's speed could be disastrous. Then you have guys like Greg Hackett, another boxing coach, who just don't think a knockout is realistic for Crawford. Hackett believes Canelo is too tough, too seasoned, and too much of a hardened opponent to just go down. He thinks Crawford, for all his brilliance, just doesn't have the ungodly punch power to put Canelo away. Instead, Hackett expects a technical masterpiece from Bud, a true boxing clinic. He even suggested that maybe in the old 15-round format, Crawford's relentless pressure and style might have had the stamina to wear Canelo down for a knockout, but in the modern 12-round era, he thinks it's a near-impossible task. The trash talk between the two fighters has also been heating up, adding even more fuel to the fire. Canelo, with his signature confidence, quipped that Crawford would learn what happens when a good fighter jumps up and his opponent is a great fighter. Crawford, never one to back down, fired back with a razor-sharp retort, a clear reminder of Canelo's loss to Dimitri Bivol. So that means you're a good fighter and Dimitri Bivol is a great fighter, right? Every time you stepped up, you lost. It was a moment of pure bravado, a masterclass in psychological warfare that showed Bud is not intimidated in the slightest. And speaking of Bivol, the man himself has weighed in. Bivol, the technical marvel who defeated Canelo, is a massive fan of Crawford. He called him amazing, not just good, and said that for any young boxer, Crawford's style should be in the book on how to learn the sport. Bivol praised Crawford's elite skills and noted his impressive size, despite being a welterweight. He even went so far as to say he believes Crawford can beat Canelo. Coming from the guy who already did it, that's a pretty strong endorsement. Another legend, former two-division world champion Andre Ward, is also firmly in Crawford's corner. Ward's take is simple and powerful: "I'm not betting Terence Crawford against anybody right now." He went on to say that someone would have to prove to him that they can break Crawford's will, and he just hasn't seen anyone do it. Ward believes that Crawford is a fighter who finds a way to win, who can figure out his opponent no matter how dangerous they are. He's putting his money and his reputation on Bud. But let's not forget about the other side of the coin. Virgil Ortiz Jr., a fantastic fighter in his own right, is a little less convinced. He's a Canelo guy, and he thinks the weight difference is just too much to overcome. While he has a ton of respect for Crawford's skills and ring IQ, he believes that putting on weight and belonging at super middleweight are two different things. Ortiz isn't saying Crawford has a 0% chance, but he just thinks Canelo's size, strength, and devastating power will be the deciding factor. He pointed to Canelo's incredible check hook against Edgar Berlanga and said, "If you get hit clean by Canelo, that's not good." Ortiz did, however, say that if Crawford manages to pull off the upset, he would consider him his #1 fighter of all time. High praise, even from a doubter.